Hey guys, guess who's back from the NCS project? I got back earlier today, and while I am extremely exhausted, and I have indeed been slain by it, I have literally had the best time ever. It's the best residential I've ever been on. I loved it so very much. And literally the people that I was with, I now consider them my family, and I love them all so much. So if any of you guys ever end up making it to this page, I think that you're all bamps, and I am looking forward to the rest of this thing so much. It is going to be brilliant, and I hope we can have so many more lols that we've been having. So anyway, yeah. So, yeah, we were sleeping in tents, by the way, and it wasn't too bad, actually. I think the reason I was having a problem with the fact we were sleeping in tents was because last time I was sleeping in a tent, it was quite a cold summer, and I don't deal well with cold. But this summer's been quite hot so far. Sorry, has been quite hot so far. So yeah, it was quite warm, so I was alright. However, what I wasn't alright about was the fact that we seemed to be living on a freaking earwig nest. I should be arrested for earwig homicide, the amount of earwigs that I ended up killing with my torch and with toilet paper, just squishing them. Oh man, I probably killed half of the earwigs in England just over the past 5 days. I ended up killing so many. I ended up bringing 2 beetles and an ant back home with me as well, just in my bag. I found an ant in my swimming costume and 2 beetles in a jumper. I'm just glad I brought back no frickin' earwigs. I really don't like them anymore. They're horrible, weirdest looking insects I've ever seen. They creep me out. And the other bad thing about tents was the fact that they were so thin you can hear what the person like 3 tents over is talking about. And we were in a tent next to these really noisy boys in my team. Jack, Samir and Louis. Louis, by the way, lactose intolerant. We ended up calling him Butterboy for obvious reasons. And literally they were just spending about 1 hour every night after we were supposed to be going to sleep going, Samir, what the hell do you want, Jack? Shut up, Samir, I'm trying to go to sleep. I was just lying in my bed thinking, why don't all 3 of you shut up so that I can get some damn sleep? Honestly though, I do love them. Yeah. Okay, and now I'm going to talk about the team name, because we had to give our team a name too, and the process of us getting a name sounds hilarious when recounting, honestly. Basically, we were just sat in the tent, we had to get a team leader with that small thing, and Joe volunteered. Remember Joe, he'll be important later on. And he was like, right guys, I think we should have the name consisting of a colour, an animal, and like an action. So we debated a bit, and then we were like, oh, what about rainbow? Because we couldn't really decide a colour that all of us really liked and would like to have on our team name. So we were like, oh yeah, rainbow sounds good. So then we were like, oh, what else? What kind of animals do we like? So we ended up coming with rainbow cats. And we were like, oh yeah, that's cool, rainbow cats. What other verbs can we think of? So then we ended up with winning rainbow cats. And then it turned out that one of our members, also called Zoe, is partially French. So we were like, oh, translate it into French, and then we're gonna have a French name. Oh yeah. So she did that, and we were like, yeah, that sounds awesome. And we ended up talking about French words for a bit. And she was like, oh, you know what French word I really like? I really like papillons. It's like means butterfly in French. And we were like, oh yeah, papillons, that's nice. Maybe we should be called the papillons in French. And then we can tell everyone that our name is the papillons, and when they ask us what it means, we can just all tell them different things. Be hilarious. We can laugh at them behind their backs. And then I can't quite remember how it happened, but we ended up going back into the realm of English and ended up being butterflies. And then this boy, Kobe, was like, maybe we should have something a bit more threatening to kind of like, instill fear into the hearts of the other groups. So then we ended up becoming the Bloodthirsty Butterflies, or BTB. We also had to design a logo as well, and we ended up with just a piece of paper, right, which had a butterfly in the middle of a spider web with like fangs and blood, and there was like a scythe next to it and a sword on the other side, and then whenever people saw it, they were like, why is your butterfly in the middle of a caught in a spider's web then, if it's so bloodthirsty? And we were like, bitches, please. It is not stuck in the spider web. It ate the spider. That's how bloodthirsty it is. Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. And now I'm going to talk about our rivalries. One of them was quite a good rivalry. The other one was a bad rivalry that just ended up smegging everybody the hell off. Right. Okay. I'm going to talk about the happy rivalry first. We ended up having a rivalry with one of the other Berkshire teams called Team 2. I think their name ended up being the Avengers, which is quite cool. I like the Avengers, as you know from my Converse versus Vans video. I do quite like the Avengers. But, yeah. That is beside the point. So, get my thoughts. We had to have a debate against them as one of the activities, and we ended up just demolishing them. We won. So, yeah. But we were debating about whether or not the NCS project should become mandatory. And afterwards, the team leaders were like, oh, so how did you find that? Was that fun? Did you enjoy having that debate? And then we were like, oh, yeah, lol. It was fun. And then this girl from the other team was like, yes, except from the fact that they wouldn't listen to us. And we were like, whoa back. We listened to your points and we gave feedback about how much crap they were. And that was where the rivalry started. And we also ended up having to play one of those games where you have the stuff on the ground and you have to get people to the other side, but if you step on the actual ground, then you have to go back to the start, or you got toxically poisoned or some crap like that. And we ended up epically failing out. It was while we were there that the Team 2 asked, oh, what's your name? Your team name? And they were like, oh, we're the Bloodthirsty Butterflies. And we also have the awesomest acronym of BTB. It's an awesome acronym. And then this girl just stared at us in astonishment for about a minute or so, and then was just like, that is the campest name I've ever heard. And I was like, really? Bloodthirsty Butterflies? How many camp people do you know that are bloodthirsty? It doesn't seem to work. Yeah. And we were also getting quite annoyed because one of the people in Team 2, this guy, was literally walking around yesterday without a shirt on for the whole entire day. Literally. And he was just wearing a pair of these shorts. Pretty sure they were women's shorts too. They looked pretty women's shorts. Seriously though. I've seen boxers which cover more skin than what that boy was wearing. And we were subjected to that sight all smegging day. Literally, they were so short. They were about as short as the shorts I'm wearing now. Look at my shorts. They were literally that short. And if anyone's wondering, yeah, I am wearing my PJs. Because I'm about to go to bed after this, because, like I said, I've been slayed by this week. I'm tired. But anyway, our rivalry with Team 2 ended up ending because you remember Joe that I mentioned and said would be important later on? He, it turns out, fancied the girl, this girl in this group that we all kind of figured. Mostly because he was spending quite a bit of time with her, and every time he was missing, every single time he was nearly either in that camp or helping them clean stuff. So, yeah, we figured that he fancied her. So we ended up kind of forcing them to have a mock marriage, and they ended up getting married by our tents by a guy from the other group called Lionel. And he was like, oh, by the power vested in me by Lionel Law, I now pronounce you boy and wife. And then we sat there for about 10 minutes chanting kiss at them until finally the girl let him kiss him on the cheek. Yeah, so now I guess Team 2 are kind of like extended family, I suppose. There'll probably still be rivalry, but, you know, it probably won't be so big. And now I guess I better talk about the bad rivalry. Because yesterday night, we were doing this huge circuit thing of these different activities, and about 3 of them were ones you had to play against people, and we ended up being played against these people who I'm going to refer to as the Nottingham lot, mostly because I don't know a single one of their names, because I did not converse with most of them. Well, actually no, I did end up talking to a few of them like a few days previously, but I don't remember how their names were. They didn't make much of an impression, to be honest. Apart from the fact that one of them was like, oh, where I come from, my accent is considered posh. And I was just going, bitch, please, where I come from, my accent is considered posh. Your accent is considered chatty. And I thought that Reading was like Chat Central. Apparently not. So yeah. And we ended up doing tug of war against them, and they got demolished. It was a best out 3, and we won 3 times. And that was when it kind of started. They got incredibly like pissed off and were like, oh, you have more members than us, you've got more male members, you should donate some so you can like even out. And we were like, no, we're not. We quite like having a load of boys. It's not our fault that, you know, Reading has more boys who are willing to leave their houses for the summer, is it? So we ended up winning against them, and they just walked off and were sore losers. And then when the next 2 ones we were playing against them were running games, I very wisely was like, please let me sit out. And I just got to sit out because, you know, I'm lazy like that. And I'm a terrible runner. I am about as fast as a snail, and I have the temperament of a sloth, right? Not a good combination to have if you want to be doing running, which I don't want to be doing running. So anyway, but we ended up playing this game called Rooks and Ravens, where everybody is sat back to back, and then they have to run away from each other. So like, one side is called the Rooks and the other side's the Ravens, and if the person who's running the game yells Ravens, then the Ravens had to run away, and the Rooks had to try and catch them. And you guys remember Melissa, right? I mentioned her in the other video. Yeah. Because she was deaf, it went lost in translation. Because she was just told she was meant to catch the other person. But she didn't know you were just meant to tap them, not proper, like, you know, catch, grab them. So she ended up grabbing this girl, and the girl like ran off crying about it. And then the other girls in the group were like, oh, she's so violent. Why is she so violent? We're violent too. We'll smack you up. We'll burn down your tent. And then, you know, we just didn't get affected like that because, you know, Samir and Jackie have been spending most of the week going, oh, I'm going to snap your neck at each other. So, you know, we were just kind of used to that kind of blabbering threats by then. Then they started taking the piss out of the way Melissa talked. And I cannot really describe how pissed off that actually made us. We got so very pissed at them. And I guess it was about that moment that I realized that we kind of become a family, that I considered them like that, I guess. Strange. So yeah, guys, I'll see ya.